Hello, I'm John. Welcome back to my channel, Must Read More. Today I've got 4 books to share with you, 3 of which I read during the last few days of October, and one that I've read since November started. The first book I read was Bruce Chatwin's In Patagonia, and I had high hopes for this one, but I really didn't care for it that much. I was expecting a great deal more description of Patagonia and the people of Patagonia than Chatwin gives us. He spent a lot of time talking about Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, and that didn't really interest me all that much. And he mostly concerned himself with, European immigrants and the children of European immigrants. And that was interesting, but it felt kind of one-sided too. And I don't know, I wanted a great deal more description, I think. I wanted him to go into towns and walk around and wander about and describe, buildings and stores and things like that. And he really didn't do that. And that's not really Chatwin's fault, That's more of my expectations for the book rather than anything Chatwin did. But I don't know, it just didn't work for me. The next book I read was The X-Files Goblins by Charles Grant, and I think this was the first X-Files novel. This is the third one that I've read, and this is my least favorite so far. In the story, there's a military experiment going on in New Jersey, and these scientists are trying to give people the same abilities as chameleons to blend in with the background, and the experiment turns the test subjects violent, and one of the scientists working on the project has started to use these chameleon people to kill people out in this town. And Mulder and Scully are called in, but they're sent there with 2 more agents. And it was just a little bit too muddled. It was hard to tell what was going on sometimes, and there were too many characters to keep track of. And it was really hard to follow sort of their investigation into this. They would kind of come up with solutions to problems, and I couldn't see how they came to those solutions. It was enjoyable overall, but like I said, it did suffer from those problems. And I wish that had been tightened up a little bit, that there had been less characters, that the plot had been clarified in certain places. And also, because this was early on in the X-Files, I think this book is from '94, Mulder in particular acts a little bit different than he does in the series later on. So the next book I read was Kitchen Confidential by Anthony Bourdain. This is a reread for me. I first read this when I was about 15, and I was really glad to be able to reread this. Anthony Bourdain wrote very much like he spoke. So as you're reading, it's kind of like you can hear, or I could hear his voice in my head, and that was really nice. I was a really big fan of No Reservations. I guess I started watching it when I was 13 or 14, something like that, and I watched it for years. And when Anthony Bourdain died, I was really broken up inside for quite a long time, for about 2 years or so, maybe longer than that. I couldn't see his picture without, wanting to cry. It really did bother me. It wasn't like a celebrity had died to me. It was like my friend had died. And his show and his book meant a lot to me when I was younger. It opened the whole world up to me. And yeah, I was just really glad to reread this. The next book I read was The Beekeeper's Apprentice by Laurie R. King. This is about a girl named Mary Russell. She's about 15 when this book starts. Her parents and her brother were killed in a car crash, and she's been sent to live with her aunt. One day she's out walking through a field, and she about steps on a guy, and he's sitting there watching some bees, and it's Sherlock Holmes. And they quickly realize that they're very much alike. They're both very inquisitive people and very, very intelligent. And so Sherlock kind of takes her under his wing and teaches her all his skills of detection. And it was really good. I really enjoyed this book. It starts off that there's a young girl who's kidnapped while she's camping with her parents, and her father is a senator, and they have to get her back. And from there they go on to have several other adventures until finally an evil villain shows up, basically trying to kill them, and they have to figure out how to go after this evil villain. It was really good. I really liked this book. I'm always kind of wary of Sherlock Holmes pastiche because a lot of it isn't very good. This was really good. This was handled very well. The sort of there's enough there from the original stories to give it flavor, but it never goes over into cliche. It's never over the top, and it's very believable, and it's very well written. I really liked this book. So those are the 4 books that I've read over the past week, and if you've read any of them, I'd love to hear your thoughts. And so thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.